Hi there, Ekta. This is Nadia from ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer. We guide cancer patients on adopting an integrative oncological treatment approach. We help them find the balance between medical treatment and complementary treatment approaches. We help patients with our team of oncologists, lab experts, nutritionists, and other healthcare professionals so that we can improve the treatment outcome for the patient. And as part of this, as part of our service to the patient, we also get get them connected with cancer survivors and cancer warriors like yourself here today, so that the knowledge is spread, queries are answered, motivation is spread, and the overall inspiration is spread to everyone, right? Through this we get to
Yeah, yeah.
know so many inspirational journeys, so many inspirational um, thoughts that people go through when they share it with us and communicate with us. And today we have Ekta with us to share her very inspirational story. I cannot wait to hear her. I cannot wait to hear the story she's about to share with me. I'm pretty sure our viewers cannot wait to hear it as well. Over to you, Ekta. The whole world is listening to you right now. Please go ahead.
Uh, Thank you so much for this lovely introduction. I am also grateful to be a part of your esteemed team. And so, talking about me is that I would not say myself a warrior. I think the bigger warriors that for cancer patients are their support members and the family members who get us through the entire journey of ourselves. So talking about my journey, I'll take you to 2017 when it started. I was an MBA student. I was doing my MBA, and after my second semester, I had started. There was severe head pains that started uh, after my second semester, and I never thought that, even with the thought of the doctor said that it could be a migraine, and even with that thought, I could not stop crying for 3 days, just listening the word migraine, that I got migraine. And so days passed by, and there were like 15-20 days, and we were under the impression that it is migraine. So I completed my second semester and everything, and I came back home to my parents during the vacation, which was after the second semester. And when I was there at my hometown, my father was sort of curious in a way that when he also knew that I had migraine, and I was suffering the previous month. So he thought that maybe why he'll get me checked once, since I am here in the hometown. But at that time, I was completely fine. Like, I did not have headaches, I did not have anything. But it was just out of his curiosity, or out of his, that father instinct that he had. So he sort of took me to the hospital and got me checked, where my WBC came at a very high level. Though doctors did not give any impression that it could be a cancer, they could say that that could be something, because the white blood cells are very high. And yeah, so I think after that point, when one report came out, and then second report came out, and then the doctor suggested us to go to a metro city and get it checked, bone marrow transplant and stuff. And things started coming out, and then it has been roller coaster ride since then. And when I came Ahmedabad, nobody told me, like, for a couple of days, for a week, I think, that I had this cancer thing. The doctor who was treating me, he said that you would have the cancer. And the first thought was for me that, so can I not go back to my college? And that was quite shocking for my parents also, that I am so very, career ambitious and everything. And it all went back down to that thought that, okay, I will not be able to study anymore, or I will not be able to go back to my college or anything like that. So that was the first thought that came into my mind when I first heard that this is something has happened. And yeah, so the journey has not been very great, I would say, but I've learned a lot of things along the time, and now I'm completely fine. And so it has been almost 3 years, more than 3 years. So the diagnosis, I was diagnosed with Ph positive, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is a kind of a blood cancer, very different kind of blood cancer. So the treatment is such wherein the medicines has to be taken for the lifetime, and I'll be on the medication for a long period of time until I am cancer free. So yeah, even if you have
Wow.
certain questions, because I am not able to sort of
That's okay.
recollect the
That's
entire.
completely fine. That's
Yeah,
completely fine. I mean, when you take me down that road, not all the information will, you have to think about it, gather your thoughts. I understand. Absolutely.
I uh, what for me, what I think is that my family has been very much supportive, like extremely supportive. I lost hope along the journey, and I was sort of diluted from what I was going through. But I think the support of the caregivers, the surroundings of ours, plays a very big role, I think, in this for this disease to recover.
You couldn't be more correct, I would say. That is the
Yeah.
word. The support, the environment you are in, the environment that is so positive around you, it definitely plays a role. I was going to ask you about your treatment more. How did your treatment go by? So, could you elaborate more on that?
Earlier, when I was diagnosed, I we went to several doctors in our network, the oncologist we knew, and from that, when we went to a hospital, which is a private hospital. I'll not disclose the name, but the environment, what we saw there, and the questions that we were asked, that were quite disturbing in the prospect. And my father was also not very encouraged for me to get treated there because of the environment we were in. So after consulting with various oncologists and various doctors, we got to know the hospital that is well suited for us, and which would not fall into an economical burden for us. So I got my treatment from a government hospital, which is GSRI, in the uh, Gujarat's government hospital. It is an Asia's second hospital, I guess, for cancer, and they have various. So from there, I think things started, and the doctors were very supportive. The problem that occurred, the headache problem that came back, and for 60 days, I don't. For 60 days, I think I could not sleep. I could not just close my eyes because of the pain that I was having for the first 60 days, because doctors were not able to sort of find out that what is that I was going through. They were under the impression that I have the side effects of cancer chemotherapy, or the dosage that I'm taking, or something like that. But nobody could find out, because the problem was in my neck, and the MRIs, the CT scans, but that were what everything that was happening was of neck. But until that point, when I consulted a neurosurgeon, and after like couple of months, we got to know that it was a sinus problem also. And from that point, I was dealing with two disease, which was one was sinus and one was cancer. So both the treatments went along, due to which my cancer treatment also got shifted for like 6 months. So it delayed for 6 months, and then this process took a long time. The medications that I was taking did not suit me, so there were many complications. And with the medicines, but the doctors were kind enough. The doctors were good, so we did not have complaints in respect to that. And there was no as such issue in respect to that. But yeah, it was quite painful in the first months, but then I think the things went very smoother. I remember a time when there were two other cancer patients uh, who met me. I was just sitting there, and I was dealing with this headache pain that I was having during the initial phase only. And they came along, and they just sat next to me, and they start asking me that what is uh, my cancer, what type of cancer I have, and what is the problem that I'm dealing with. And her name was Dolly, I guess, and she sort of inspired me in a way that nobody could. I mean, my parents were there, everybody was there, but when she sort of shared her journey and her experience, and then she was all right. It was 2.5 years after her diagnosis, and she had her hair back and everything. And I think that the talk that I had with her really inspired me to move on, and sort of that my head pain is nothing in front of the things that she has suffered through her, this thing. So that really helped, I think. And yeah, so for treatment phase, I think it's been, I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy, 21 days of radiation therapy. My treatment ended up in, with the chemotherapy and radiation therapy, it ended in um, December 2018, I guess. December 2018, yes. And it's been 2.5 years under which I am maintenance phase, which is 2.5 years. I have another medicines that I have to take. And now for the lifetime, I'll have one single dose of medicine, the chemotherapy that I'll have to take for a longer run. Currently, I'm also working with a non-profit which works towards creating inclusive societies and works in various sectors of education, health, sanitation, and I'm doing my bit. Yeah.
Wow, that's just, it's funny how a stranger can just walk towards us and change our lives, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was really good. Like, even when I visit my doctors now, they sort of ask me that if I can come a day and sort of talk to the people who would also get. So I definitely, I have visited 2 or 3 patients after my recovery also. Uh, it certainly gives some sort of, just looking at you, I think it gives some sort of motivation or hope, or I don't know what that word is, but something is clicked for a cancer patient when they see the ulterior motive, which after 2.5 years they will also get back to their feet. And I've met a lot of cancer patients through my journey, and everyone's journey is, I think, quite beautiful from what I've uh, heard.
Yeah, it is beautiful. That is why we're sitting here and having this conversation with you, because we want to know Ekta's story, which is again extremely
Yeah,
nice. I love the fact that you just told me about the stranger who just walked up to you and changed your life all of a sudden, changed your perspective, changed your
yeah,
attitude with just one conversation. I mean, how much did that take? It is just
yeah,
beautiful
exactly.
how people can just change strangers, and that too we don't even have any relation with them. It just happens, coincidence, right?
Yeah, true.
Also, coming to how your whole family took this. I know you said they were very supportive, but how did they take it as a family, and as uh, the fact that their daughter is in this has the disease?
I think our entire life went haywire when this thing was encountered. So last thing, when my father got to know that I have this disease, and he asked me that, what do you want to eat like today? What is that you want to eat? And then my first instinct was, I want to eat Maggie. I'm a big time Maggie lover. So he funnily just laughed, and then uh, he got he got me the last thing that I wanted to have. And uh, um, and then he did not tell me. As I said, my doctors told me that I have this disease, and he knew for like couple of days, and he was just figuring out the doctors and the hospitals that I have to get treated in and everything. And so I don't know the previous phase when they got to know, and then how my brother, because my brother and my father were first to know about this thing. And they sort of, in the first week, I think they just roamed here and there and find out that which is the hospital that I should get treated in and everything. Met a lot of oncologists, met a lot of doctors, took a lot of opinions and everything. And the funny part is that I am not from the place wherein I took the treatment from. My house is 150 kilometers away from Ahmedabad, which is where I took the treatment. So the initial phase, like the first 3 to 4 months, were tiring for my parents also, because we have to do the up down thing from my native to Ahmedabad. Uh, because Ahmedabad, we were not living in Ahmedabad during that period. My sisters were, my brother were, but they were living in their hostels, and we did not have a home here. So it was very difficult in the initial phase to even take that step, that do we want to shift, do we want to shift to the entire business, because my father is a businessman, and how would we go, like shutting down the entire business and shift Ahmedabad and start a new, because this cancer journey takes time, it would be. So the decision that we took was, my father stayed in Palanpur, which is my native place, and my entire family shifted here. My sister sort of completed her graduation, my brother left his job, and we stayed. And my best friend, she sort of helped me find a new home for me after like a couple of months, because during the first phase we were just traveling back and forth from my native place to, and it was again very much tiring enough, and very much frustrating, very much, there were times, there were not a single day wherein I did not vomited in the taxi which we used to book on a daily basis. So first a few months, as I said, that there were a lot of things were mixed up, because I had headaches, I had this cancer chemotherapy going on, and we were sort of confused that what is to be done and everything. My parents, I think, they did not showed, or they did not express that what is that they are going through. My mother lost a huge amount of weight, huge extreme amount of weight, I think 20 kgs in the first 2 months. But she never cried in front of me. Her appetite lost, and she was not able to eat anything. And I am a big time foodie, and I was not able to eat anything because there are certain prescriptions in the way diet has to be followed and everything. So the my entire this cancer journey was focused on what is that I can eat, because that is what was keeping me in a way, that because I had so much of uh, problems with the food that I was consuming. So I was just looking forward that what is one thing that you can get me, that way. And because of that, my mother also could not eat, because I was not able to eat the regular food, and this thing happened. And I think my mother did not enjoy mangoes or watermelon during the summer season, because that is the time I was diagnosed.
Yeah.
So I was not able to consume any fruits, because in the cancer, it is said that you do not have dry things or something like that.
Right.
And my brother sort of took a break from his job. He left his job. He started. So what we did is that my entire family used to stay at my home. So we are 4 siblings, and my brother used to stay at hospital. My mother used to stay at hospital. My sister used left her. I mean, once her graduation was finished, her graduation was at the time of completion only, but she did not take any job. She was like a full time caretaker for me, like from bathing to sort of taking care of medicines to everything. And she's a younger to me. She's 3 years younger to me. So it was great deal of you know toll on her, that phase, the teenager phase that she has to have. So, but they all came along, and then my one younger brother who was in school, he and my father managed staying in Palanpur. They sort of did the household chores and cooking and everything on their own. And yeah, so it has been quite up and down, but we have been in Ahmedabad since then, and we did not leave Ahmedabad after that. And financially, it was a bit constraining at the point wherein there was a situation wherein doctors asked us for the bone marrow transplant, and it would have costed us more than 60 lakhs. So that was prescribed, and we were also sort of worried that how would we arrange that much amount of money in a single go. So all that happened, and
Yeah,
but
I
our family,
understand.
yeah.
I understand. It is just so beautiful the way you're explaining about your family, each and every person, what kind of role they played, what in this entire journey. I mean, I'm so overwhelmed right now because they all just came together. You didn't have to tell them, no, do this, do that. They just came together as a family and did what they had to do. It's just a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing. And secondly, like you said, you were traveling a lot. How did that affect you? Did it have an effect on your treatment or on your health? Like, did it cause any other problems?
The traveling portion was, yes, causing the trauma of having 6 hours, even in regular days when I'm fine right now. Even if I have to travel for 6 days at a stretch, 6 hours at a stretch in a day, it will take a, maybe not physically, but it would take a mental toll in a way
Yes,
that
yes.
how the journey, the entire road trips. And at that time, I was on heavy doses of chemotherapy, and so I used to puke a lot. Like everything I used to eat, it just came puking.
Mm.
So we had to sort of arrange. There was no one who could travel. So what we did was that someone would Ahmedabad would come to pick me, and then they would take me to the hospital, and they would again come back to drop me. So 4 rounds of travel, 150 kilometers. It was quite hectic, I
Yeah,
think.
too much. Yes.
Because at that point of time, we also did not thought that how would we manage staying in Ahmedabad, the economic portion. If we shut down the business and everything, how would we arrange for the finances for that
Yes.
treatment?
Yes.
So
Absolutely, because that is what is important. Is the need of the hour, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And also, when it comes to your age and the diagnosis of the cancer, I mean, the stage at which it was, what age were you diagnosed at and what stage was it?
I am not sure about the stage because it was not mentioned that if this type of cancer has a stage or something. There was a phase wherein doctors said that WBC cells are very huge,
Right.
exponentially uh, uh, huge, and sorry, what was your question?
The age, what age were you at that?
I 22. Yeah.
22. Right, right. Oh, you said you were in college MBA. Yes, right. And during that time, how did you manage your college life and personal life, taking care of yourself?
College life, it was the time wherein I had this internship to go to. Like after my second semester, there is an 1 month or 2 months internship that we have to go to, which was in Bangalore. I was doing my MBA in Bangalore, and so for that internship, when I got to know, I suddenly informed the committee, that college committee, that this is the situation, and I will not be able to sort of come for an internship. So the word spread around, and every time whenever I visited the doctors in the first month, I think I was just bombarding them with the questions that when is that I will be able to sort of go to my college back and do the regular stuff. I was just asking him these questions about my college, and so he did not said any direct answer, but he just said that you just focus on your health right now. You just focus on your you don't have to worry about education. Sab ho jayega. And he was just giving me one single answer. I was expecting a time or a date or something, but he never said that this is the time it will take for you to recover or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I was also, because I knew that cancer is deadly and cancer is serious and everything, but I did not knew that it would take like it takes like this, because we did not have any genetic even I was never around a person who had cancer. I never heard in my connections also that
Yeah.
somebody had something is that which is you never heard, and then you got to know about it.
Yes.
And that is when the confusion happened. If you have someone to take through that step, that how to go and how to follow, so if there is direction on the path to follow, I think that would have helped us in a way to sort of entangle the things in an easy way. So so that college thing sort of uh, I took a pause from a college when I got to know the how serious the situation is. Even I stopped asking certain things after a month. And so my college was also very supportive in the format that they supported in every way they want. They thought they asked me to just take care of myself, and whenever I'm back, I can resume my studies. So I took a 1 year pause, and after 1 year, I went back, finished my graduation in 2019. I got my degree, and I'm an MBA graduate now.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. You completed your MBA at the same time you went through the journey, managed both simultaneously. Amazing, amazing. And not only that, it is a matter of that entire logistics that you've planned out. And not only that, you have taken care of yourself really well. If you ask me, you took care of yourself by taking care of the symptoms in the beginning, constant headaches. You do say your dad took you to the hospital, but I'm pretty sure it was not just a normal headache, right? That self examination and early detection can be stress more on that, on the
Yes,
importance.
I think it was in the form that nobody expected that checkup for headache would turn into something called cancer. And it was so unusual for my father also to think uh, that since you are here, just let's just get you checked. That and I was resisting. I was saying, no, why do you want me to get checked and everything? I was resisting that to that point that I did not want it to go. And had that not been the cause, then there was like just a period of 10 days wherein I had to go back to my college and get my internship started and everything. And the reason I did not want it to go is that I was okay at that point of time. When I came back home, I was absolutely fine. There was no headache. There was no, any symptom that one can say that I am going through something. But it's just that instinct that he had, and then which and you won't believe that first report that we took. So he said that there might be there might be something, and nobody said no that this can lead to cancer. But again, the first report that came, he got a bit suspicious about something. Like he said, no, I think maybe we should get it checked from my reference. Let's go to someone whom I know. So he took a second opinion on that report also, just the normal report. So I think somewhere or other there was a calling for I don't know, something really unusual happened during that period, because that is not the usual behavior. Because I had a lot of troubles in the past also. We just follow through the normal process that it will pass away.
Yeah.
And so this happened, and the headache was also in a way uh, that it could have been migraine only, because the symptoms were as such, and I got treated after some period, and everything went well. So I think
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes that, like you said, it has been a roller coaster ride, and your father's had that instinct of, oh, something is really not adding up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And he was searching for answers and he found it. Yes, definitely. So, um, talking more about your lifestyle, talking more about how your lifestyle used to be before cancer, while cancer went through, and after cancer.
My lifestyle in the form of
In the
clothes,
form,
fooding, and the roaming
everything.
around.
Definitely, we would like to know everything, but definitely your nutrition, your diet, did you exercise, things like that, and what must a person with this cancer expect? As a viewer, when I'm watching, what do I want to know?
I I think I am sort of a free soul. I never took life that seriously. I never thought for an instinct that what is that I am consuming in the form of food. I thought that maybe if I'm consuming some um junk food, so this is the age that I should have everything, like before cancer. That this is the time when I should be experiencing a lot of things, and this is my like prime time for uh, you know in every format, that I never had these second thoughts on certain things. And during the cancer, obviously the nutrition that doctors suggested, that what has to be followed, my family made sure that even though uh, I have such cravings and I have such demands for different types of
Don't we
items,
all?
food items. Yeah, everybody has. So, but they sort of that is what I said, that is what the difficult part for my family was, in the form that how do they convince me to not not ask for uh, uh, this thing. So, and after that I've recovered, now I will not say I'm 100% cautious, but I do make sure that what is that I'm consuming uh, gets supplemented in some or other way. So I have regular soup that which my mother makes, regular healthy diet. Plus, if sometimes there are cheat days that I follow. I'm not very much like a person of very strict person, very hardcore, into something. I just take the life as it is coming.
Yes, and that is exactly what we are trying to tell everybody. Take life as it comes and take each day as it comes. And moreover, cancer has got a lot to do with your mind also, right? by spreading the awareness, by spreading the right kind of awareness, right kind of guidance, right kind of attitude and positivity all around, I think a lot of it can be handled in a much better way.
True.
What would be your comments on that, about the mind and the mind playing a vital role in the treatment?
Yeah. So as I said that if you if you remember in my journey also, the first 60 days were so painful, so hopeless, so because somewhere or other I also lost the hope, and I also was not wanting. I was just wanting this pain to end. I was not wanting anything bigger for my life. I just was wanting that somewhere, somehow or other, this pain should stop. That is what I am experiencing through like the first 60 days. As I said, I was not even to sleep. I was not watching my phone. I was doing nothing. I was just I was just sleeping and seeing. I just used to stare at ceiling, nothing else. I could not. I don't remember if I spoke to like anyone in 10 days, 20 days. I could not utter a word. That is what the pain was. The first initial pain was. It sort of, I can't explain that in a way. And slowly, when things started progressing, when I met this other girl, when I met my fellow patients, when I met other people, and even for myself, when the things started improving, uh, some sort of positivity came. And I remember in October or November, I think I was at a point wherein I was grateful to the period that I have experienced. I've lived through this entire time. I don't know
Yeah,
that
towards the end, you started seeing the light. That,
yeah,
oh, okay, I get it.
there was in October or November. I remember there was a time wherein I felt that this is something very different that I have experienced, that nobody uh, experiences, and I have the. So there was this phase also. There are certain phases which are dull, which are not so encouraging, but that is what that we are full of. We are as a humanity, as humans, we are full of emotions. So sometimes it's good, sometimes bad, but
Some good days, some
we have
bad days.
true. We
Yes.
have to go through that.
Nevertheless, we've got to know what exactly the information is out there. Nevertheless, we have to be aware. Nevertheless, we need to take the steps required, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is why we're even having this conversation, because I'm pretty sure so many viewers out there are going to benefit from it. And
Yeah.
Coming to what I wanted to ask mainly was, how did you bring about today, when you're speaking to me, you speak with so much of gratitude, you speak with so much of zest for life, that okay, I can go through anything right now. There's a certain kind of radiance on your face that is just beautiful. It is
Thank you.
like you said, you have reached a certain point in life where you think that, okay, I'm grateful for this. Why would you say that?
um that is what that there was a phase in life wherein I felt this entire journey that I've experienced to be very grateful. And sometimes when there are pains, so what I want to say is that when for me, when there is pain attached, when there is something which is very painful happening internally, physically, as you may say, so that period I could not feel anything else. I could not feel how many people are supporting me, how many how much, how things are going around me, how good is happening around me, what is that new show that has come that I have to see. Something very unusual happens, and that point is the dark phase for me. But and those are very few, and compared to that, if you see the better ones, the good ones, they are in larger number, and that is the time that I feel grateful. Like right now I'm speaking to you, 20 days, as I said, that I am going through severe headaches since the last 20-25 days, but still I can sort of converse with you today, and you being such a nice host, uh, somewhere is encouraging me, or letting me flow the information, because this is again the first time that I'm speaking to someone about my journey. I've never spoken to anybody Even a lot of people have asked me to write a blog, to sort of put down my words, and I have always felt that that what is that I have gone through is a normal journey for every cancer patient. It is not something exceptional that I have gone through. Like, I have been in pain, I have suffered, and I have also, but that is what everybody has experienced. That is not something exceptional that I have. That is what my ideology has been from the start, and that is why I don't sort of. But Dimple D has been very close to me, and I think I owe her. I owe it to her, and I also feel very, very good. I have never felt a great connection with anyone as such. So
Thank you
in a
so
way
much.
that,
Thank you so
yeah,
much, Ekta. Like, I have to say that. Thank you so much, very much, because it means a lot to her as well, and as to all of us behind her. So it is a big thing. Yes, continue.
yeah. So in a way that you asked that what is I feel good about is that right now I'm recovered. I've got my hair back. I have put on some weight, but I am back to normal face. I am working. I am doing the usual course, though the immunity is not that great, but still I am in a phase that I am not. Uh, I don't say I have not. I don't feel anything lesser what I have been earlier. It is just giving me a hope every day that I have to achieve something. Things have been slow, but they are moving forward. It is not that it has stopped. Because with the cancer journey, things sort of stopped for me, and I was always. I'm a very ambitious person. I always wanted to achieve something, and so at that period of time, so there was this stress that what will I do with my career, and so actually, frankly speaking, all this uh, thoughts that one experiences during this phase, uh, it is, a lot of people have come and said that positivity works and this thing works and everything works, but I think the most important thing for a cancer patient to hear is that, okay, if you are feeling low, it is okay, but what is there that I can help you to make it go
Better.
if there is some helping hand in a way, what is that I can do to sort of make your negative into positive, rather than just saying that don't think negative, don't think this, don't think that. There should be a helping hand in a way that should say that what is that I can do to support you.
That is
That's what I feel.
exactly, that is the message exactly what we are trying to put forward with these kind of videos from us, from our side as well, to everybody out there watching this video. Ekta, what is your message? What would you like to say to them? What, as a viewer, what would you like to hear? Caregivers out there, patients out there, survivors out there. What is Ekta's message? Words of wisdom and lessons learned to them.
Again, I don't think I am the right person to sort of give a message to the people who are, in a way. But if I have to say something from heart to heart, I think my best wishes are with you. If you are going through something like that, and if you feel that anytime during your journey there is a connect with my story, and you would want to talk to me, speak to me, meet me if you are in the city, anything like that, I think I'll be glad to, you know, have it in a way that uh, to share whatever that I feel, and to sort of ease your pain. And as I said, that if you feel negative, if you feel low at points, and if you feel that way, so there is nothing that, for me, there is nothing that has helped. But if there is something you say that this is something that I want from the person to help, I think I'll be there in a way, if you ask me for it.
Wow. That is such a beautiful message. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are hearing this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to benefit from this. And like Ekta said, you can always reach out to her. Always reach out to her.
I can share
Thank
you my number, and if you want to sort of pass it forward to anyone, I'll be there to speak. No problem.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. As a not even just a host, as a person, as a lady, and lady to lady here. thank you so much for going through what you went through and having the guts to even stand up for yourself and tell us all about what you went through. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of effort to, even while you're going through, you're not well as of now. So I really want to applaud you on that. You're not well and you're still sitting here talking to us with such a radiant smile. It is just beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ekta, for taking the time out with us. Please take care. Please keep inspiring all of us. And on behalf of ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, Ekta.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Have a great day ahead. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, bye.